Hi, almost everyone is watching my channel without a subscription. Please support me and subscribe. I release videos every day for you. Story 1. I kicked my parents out of their own house for doing this. I am 27, am married to a man, and 28. He is the love of my life. I had only ever dated women before him, but when I met him, I realized I was bi, and we fell in love. We got married in the fall of 2018, so it's been almost 4 years. We now live in Vermont. My whole family is from a small town in Texas, a super conservative Catholic area. I was raised there, but Dad got a job in NYC when I was 15. The culture shock was difficult. We went from living in rural Texas to living in an apartment in Manhattan. My parents didn't sell our house in TX. They allowed our aunt and uncle, who just had their third child, to move in while charging them a small rent. In college, when I came out as bi, my brother and dad were very supportive. My mom needed some time to accept. The rest of my family reacted poorly at first, but came around. During visits, we stayed with my aunt and uncle in my old house, but because we weren't married, we weren't allowed to share a bed. We didn't argue. We both would rather make peace. Visiting since, instead of staying with my aunt and uncle, we would rent a motel room. During COVID, we did not visit them. But this summer, my parents and bro decided to go visit my hometown again for 2 weeks and invited my husband and I. I wanted a motel again, but my aunt and uncle insisted my brother, husband, and I stay with them. The first night sleeping situation was being discussed after my cousins went to bed. My aunt and uncle wanted me and bro to take the spare bedroom, husband on couch. All three of us took issue with that. They snapped that we were not really married because we were gay and that they had children in the house. They said that it would be a bad influence on their kids. This hurt my husband's feelings, and he started crying and ran out of the room. When my husband ran out, my uncle had the audacity to start laughing. That's when I saw red. I started cussing them out so loudly that my young cousins came to investigate. I told them that if they didn't go apologize to my husband immediately, that I was going to tell my dad what just happened, and I was going to make sure to have them kicked out of the house that was still in my parents' name. My bro seconded everything that I was saying. They started backtracking and saying that we were still welcome in their house, but that we had to follow their rules. I responded that it wasn't really their house. I told them they were going to be homeless if I had my way. The kids started crying, cause they heard me say they were all going to be homeless, so we left. My husband was on the porch crying. I promised him that I would never subject him to that again. I told Dad what happened. To say that my dad was angry would be an understatement. He served them a notice of eviction for 60 days. I've been getting calls and texts and Facebook messages from my family calling me I want to know AITA for allowing my young cousins to end up homeless. Is it fair that they have to pay for what my aunt and uncle said to me and my husband? Additional comments. I think that's partly why I got so angry. Not just the fact that they disrespected my husband and our marriage, and that I am ride or die for my husband. They were the ones to insist we stay with them only for them to tell us we weren't really married because of our sexual orientation in their eyes, therefore not allowed to stay in the same room. It just felt like a setup. Hey all. My husband and I want to thank everyone for the overwhelming amount of support and love. We have updates. To people asking where my mom is in all of this, she's now supportive of my husband and I's relationship. She agrees that I gave aunt and uncle a chance to apologize and they didn't. I could tell my dad was not telling me the whole story about the eviction, so I pressed my mom and found out the truth 3 days ago. I've been having a hard time with it. The day I told him, my dad reached out to my aunt and uncle, and not only did they show no remorse, they said that they didn't want their kids to be gods because of us. Yeah, they really said that. He asked why they would invite us to stay with them, if this is how they truly felt. This is where it gets bad. To them, it's one thing if we are living in Vermont being gay. It's another thing if we visit my hometown, throwing our lifestyle in everyone's faces by shacking up at the motel. The local motel owner, whose family owns it and is a childhood friend of my mom's, gossiped about us every time we were there. She was nice to our face, but behind our backs, different story. Because everyone knows each other, we would become the talk of the town when we stayed there, and we had no idea. We wouldn't have tolerated it if we had. We never stayed long for visits because we could sense something was off, but pushed the feeling aside because to our faces they were nice. These are people that know me, that claim to love me. Mom said my aunt and uncle were trying to save face with the rest of the town and try to control our behavior at the same time while we were there. Before evicting, my dad asked Mom to reach out to this gossiping friend. According to the friend, A and U were a major part of the shit-talking. No one ever said anything to my face. I feel so disgusted and betrayed and naive. This enraged my dad, so he decided to evict them. He told them that they can freeload somewhere else, and he will never accept anyone as family that would treat his sons that way. Mom says he's gone NC with them. Mom told me that he thinks of my brother, husband, and I as his pride and joy. I feel so proud that I have a dad like him. I mentioned that he is my hero. This is just the icing on the cake. He has always been my #1 supporter, and he told me when I came out as bi that he would always have my back. He kept that promise. My dad doesn't know he's internet famous. I still don't know how to break it to him law. He's a humble guy. Dad doesn't use social media, so we're safe for now. My bro knows about this post, and we've been trying to figure out a plan of action. We've been contacted by journalists. We've gotten so many loving messages. But at the end of the day, I'm just an average guy still trying to process the fact that I got betrayed on a scale that I can't even comprehend. For those saying we are for letting my cousins go homeless, I can confidently say now that they only have their parents to thank for that. Story 2. AITA for kicking out my parents for never telling me about my half-sister. So let me clarify, I'm writing this out of confusion and shit. I, 28, love my parents. They've always been great to me, loved me, and supported me. They've been staying with me and my wife since we had a baby to help out, and if I'm being honest, it has been a great help having them around. Yesterday, my dad asked me to get the mail from his place after work so he can pay his bills. Well, I got the mail and most of it is bills and ads, but one actual letter. I didn't think anything of it and gave it to my dad. He apparently threw it out, but my wife noticed it in the trash and read it. She didn't know what it was when she saw it. She brought it to me, and it was addressed to my dad as father, so obviously my half-sister. She's pregnant and asking for money cause it's harder for her to make it, and she just wants to support her baby. I confronted my parents, and yeah, she's 21-ish, born from my dad's affair. He gave her money until she graduated. She writes him letters. She's apparently not in college cause she's broke, and he thinks she's stripping or doing sex work. He doesn't even know for sure. He just told me he's done supporting her, and she isn't his responsibility. We talked more about it for half an hour. My mom was quiet, and my dad has never been like that. I don't even know the word for to describe how he was. It just made me so fucking angry I made them leave right there without even taking their things back. Cause it feels like it's my fault. I have a sister out there who's living like garbage while I'm out here enjoying my life. After looking into her a bit more, I talked to 2 cousins 2 hours ago, and they're both divided on if I did the right thing. One cousin think I was an asshole for making my parents leave without talking things through or even making a plan, but her sister thinks I did the right thing. My wife told me she's staying out of it since she regrets reading somebody else's mail. I just don't know myself. I feel like an asshole for making my parents leave cause I love them so much, but at the same time I feel so mad over the situation. Update. I want to thank everyone who said go talk to my parents. That's the first thing I did. I went to their place and I tried to talk to them. But it was frustrating, and my mom got angry when I said I was going to reach out to my sister. She asked why I cared, and I got upset and told her because she taught me to. My dad saw me out after that and surprised me by telling me he was proud of me for being a better man than him. That was weird. Anyway, my wife reached out to my sister Hannah, and she agreed to meet. We went with my cop friend, Joe, cause you never know. We met Anna in her apartment, and it's in a rough side of town. It's tiny and a shit place to live. Anna's a small, quiet girl who works in a library. She reminds me of my gran. She claims she's only a waitress at a strip club to make ends meet. Obviously, she can't do it now. She said she's failed like her mom, and the best thing she can do is have her kids succeed. She said she just wanted cash to take pregnancy classes. I gave her my number and some cash, of which she gave a lot back right away. That night, my wife asked if I could let Anna move in cause she felt heartbroken. I gave Anna the offer, but she refused and said she won't take advantage of us. About a month later, she phoned me crying and said there's black mold in her building and she has to go. She came to us with barely anything, just clothes, a wallet, a toothbrush, and a sack of old books. Since then, she's just been sad and really alone cause she thinks she's taking advantage. She tries to help with chores a lot and always apologizes. She's only happy when she plays with our baby. But it was her birthday a few days ago, and she asked if we get her cupcakes. It was like she expected me to say no. But my wife went and got them, and a whole DQ cake, while I got her the box set of the exams books. She started crying and hugged us both when she saw everything on the living room table for her. In the days since, she has seemed happier and won't lie. I'm worried for her, but I do think stability has helped her. As for my parents, my mom refuses to come as long as she is there, so I visit her with the baby sometimes. My dad refuses to go cause he says he's ashamed. Whatever, I guess. On the other hand, My wife's parents told me they are more proud of me than ever. Story 3. AITA for not letting my nephew, who recently came out, live with us after getting kicked out. My nephew Tyler is 18. He came out this week, and his dad didn't take it well. My sister asked me if I would let him stay with me until her husband calmed down and let him move back in. I'm not close with my nephew due to past behavior and the fact that he's been a bully to my son 15 meters since they were kids. That was something we tried working out, but Tyler never seemed to learn. Since my sister didn't do much because of her boys will be boys mentality, I limited interaction with them. Then last year, Tyler antagonized my son on social media. Before that happened, my son went through something traumatic that I won't get into details here, but it left him with a lot of anxiety about going out. He made a celebratory post about going to the grocery store for the first time in months by himself without getting a panic attack. Tyler decided to call him a Russie. Asked why is he getting excited about something so stupid and not even a big deal. I confronted Tyler directly because he knew what my son had experienced. He wasn't apologetic because according to him, he was just jokingly giving him a hard time and didn't mean it in a bad way. This time I told my sister Tyler is to stay away from my son completely. This new situation doesn't change the fact that I don't want Tyler near him. Even with the promises that he won't do anything, I can't trust him. He's done it before when I'm not around until it pushes my son to finally tell me. That's why I'm apparently being an asshole to him, given this difficult and emotional moment he's going through. My wife and I said we could pitch in for him to stay somewhere. Our other family lives far, and he's still in school, but not in our house. The reason she refuses this is because Tyler needs to be with family at the moment, and things are complicated at their house right now. She's trying to calm things down, but says it could be a long while since her husband doesn't want him back at all. If things had been different, I'd accept him into our home in a heartbeat. But not if it means putting my son in a position to be bullied. My mom understands how awful Tyler has been to my son, the way he's tormented him, and that we've tried to make things work. In this situation, she does think I'm not being a good uncle and an asshole because of what Tyler is currently going through, that it's more serious. They're both on us about this, but we have had to say no. Are we being asshole? Verdict. NTA update. Well, it appears I have been bamboozled, or almost at least, by my sister and Tyler. My mom claims she had no idea and now she's angry at them too. Had some time this weekend to have a chat with my BIL, Tyler's dad, because honestly, despite Tyler's awful behavior, I was disgusted at any parent disowning their child over their sexuality. I called him to talk, not only to give him a piece of my mind, but also understand why he's even being like this. Like I said in a previous comment, his late brother was gay, and he never had a problem with that. It was just a shock to see him have such a strong negative reaction. Or maybe he'd always been secretly against it, or now it's different because it's his own son. I don't know, that's why I called. He had no idea what I was talking about. So there really was more to the story than my sister was leading on. Tyler came out to them months ago, and him getting kicked out wasn't the reason at all. I'm super skeptical about this because to me it seemed like maybe he was trying to play innocent to avoid getting shit on. Until he went and got my sister to tell him exactly what she told me. They got into a fight, then my sister finally told me no, her husband didn't kick Tyler out of the house for being gay, since they were aware of it for months. He got into some trouble at school that he lied about, and while he was grounded for that, Tyler had taken his dad's car without permission and messed it up. He said it just seemed like one thing after another, especially the way he was acting with their other kids, which was the straw that broke the camel's back for him, and told Tyler to get out. After the whole thing, I was furious with my sister. She apologized a million times. Her only excuse was she was desperate for Tyler having a place to stay and hoped the whole gay thing would make me reconsider until her husband cooled down and let Tyler come back. I've had a day to calm down, told my mom how my sister lied. Now at least we're more secure in our decision and don't feel like assholes at all for not letting him come with us. Tyler is at a friend's house now, don't know if his dad plans to let him move back in, but one thing's certain, he's not staying here with us at all. Not for what he's done to my son, and especially not after knowing all the reasons why he's not at his parents anymore. That's their mess to deal with now. Thanks for your judgment and thoughts, Reddit. Just wanted to leave this new bit of info on here. Story 4. I'm leaving my husband and getting an abortion. We've been married a total of 3 months. Knew each other briefly before. Religious reasons, this is common. I'm absolutely sure I'm doing the right thing. This man is incredibly abusive. Curses, yells, name calls when he's mad over very tiny things. Asking him to get toilet bowl cleaner on his way home, or to turn up the TV when the remote is closest to him. Last night he poked me in the forehead several times. When I slightly raised my voice for him to stop, he erupted in anger, calling me sensitive, and then slapping the back of my head while calling me a bitch on his way out. No, he does not drink or do drugs. He's just 11 years older than me, 23F, stupid I know. I'm just over a month pregnant, and since we found out, he's been super excited, telling all his friends and family. In front of them, he's this perfect charming person, to the point of I told them what I'm dealing with, they literally wouldn't believe me. He complains about everything. How much I sleep despite my pregnancy. It's made me incredibly tired. When he asked me what I want to eat, and I mentioned something he doesn't think is good food, sushi, Japanese, etc., he gets upset and says that I'm extra. He's dated women from other countries, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, and says that they never complained about his behavior, masculinity, and says stuff like a woman knows when she has a real man. I'm not dealing with none of this feminism stuff. A woman will find a way to deal with the man she's with and not complain about stuff that doesn't really matter. Feminism beak. I want you to speak to me with decency. I don't even use that word. Sigh, I'm just over it. Edit 1. I'll post an update in hopefully under a month's time. I also wanted to add that this was not an arranged marriage that I coerced or forced into. I chose to enter this marriage. These behaviors were not present before or even after we married, but rather a week after the pregnancy was confirmed. Update. I'm out, I'm free, and have the termination scheduled for the end of the month. A kind Redditor gave information regarding resources in my area, and I was able to get to a DV shelter that thankfully provides an Uber, or I otherwise wouldn't have been able to make it. I'm taking advantage of every resource available to me here. I spoke to the resource coordinator Friday morning, and they're taking me through the steps to find permanent housing. Although not guaranteed, they have matched me with different agencies in the area. Wish me luck. Additionally, I'm meeting with another person next week to help with employment opportunities. However, on my own time, I'm applying on Indeed any chance I get. As for the abortion, I found an income-based place, and given my current situation, they gave me the lowest price they could, and then a phone number to a nonprofit that provides funding support. Long story short, I'll be able to terminate without further financial hardship. I just want to say I am so thankful for the support from each and everybody on here, and am so incredibly thankful that I got out before it was too late. Additional details, although not particularly necessary to include, I will anyway, because you guys were right about things eventually escalating. Before leaving, I was sitting on the floor packing the last few items I needed to. He clearly saw what was going on and started getting verbal again, which led to him pushing my head towards the metal part of the bottom of the bed. I'm not sure what it's called. I shifted and my body thankfully hit it instead. The bruise I had is finally, after a week, going away. You guys were right, unfortunately. Sigh. But it's over. Do not forget to subscribe and leave comments. Videos are released every day.